Apparently we're live. Wonderful.
Apparently.
That's always good.
G'day from New Zealand. Oh, wait, no, that's Australia. Sorry. Sorry, Greg.
That's you fired.
Yeah,
Oh dear. That's
it's
always good.
like, get out.
That's funny.
You're not welcome here anymore.
Yeah, there we
You're
go.
banished from Mordor.
There we go. No,
Another
we're
New
good. I
Zealand
think
joke.
that's us live on YouTube, so we can get into our shameless plug for continuity. Thank you for staying with us on YouTube here while Bob and Ted make a demo coming up next. So there we go. Shameless plug for continuity. There we go. And of course, another shameless plug is going to be our introduction music. Are we ready?
Bob and Ted are gonna make a demo game in real. Who will be the hero? Bob and Ted, yeah, are gonna make a demo. Roll on that plugins. Dialects, engage. Oh. Ted are gonna make a demo game in real. Who will be the hero? Bob and Ted, yeah, are gonna make a demo. Let's get ready to make some characters.
There we go.
Instant top 10 radio hit right there.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, party on, Ted. Party on, Ted.
Yeah, okay.
So,
We-
how many
people are
how many
here from-
90s references can I get in that you won't understand?
Hey, I was born in the 90s, so I'm bound to get some, you know.
Absolutely.
Some.
Absolutely.
We got somebody in the waiting room apparently, a guy called
We do
Cody.
have somebody. Okay, right. So good, good,
Shall
good,
we
good.
admit him?
Yeah, we shall admit them. Admit them where? Admit them to the room or admit them to hospital? That's one of the things. So we did say banter level was going to be full tonight, didn't we? So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So excellent. I'm going to keep an eye on the YouTube as well. So see if people's are going to have any questions or anything like that on the YouTube. And there we go. So excellent. Yes, that is it. It's good. It's there. It's live. And we're on YouTube. We're live. Good evening, everyone. And hope everyone is having a wonderful day in the sun. So the Zoom room is open and everyone's having a wonderful time. Although that's not a 90s reference, that's a way back to the 70s reference, that one, for they were. So anyway, so for those of you that, beside the shameless plugs and the shameless puns, for those who don't know, I'm Bob Strachan, and this is my good friend,
Ted Huggins. Yep.
Ted Huggins. There we go. And Ted
You said
is
my own
an
name.
You said your own name. That's it. That's good. You've been practicing that all week. I'm so proud of you. That's wonderful. So it's been great. I've been practicing too. It's great. So this is wonderful because I'm back in my radio days, and it's just this is epic. I'm having an amazing time. Anyway, so we're gonna make a demo tonight, Ted, and aren't we?
Yes, we are. We're going to make. Well, at least we're going to make. We're going to take at least a what would you call it? Kind of like dipping our toes into kind of like the process, at least, you know.
Yes.
Because full disclosure, it's not going to be a typical full demo with 6 or 7 or 10 different scripts, because we do not have enough time for that. But we are going to go through the general process, at least my general process that I've done, that I do for Planet Buster demos, which is my, I suppose, should I tell them about Planet Buster demos?
You can absolutely tell them about Planet Busters. That's what we're here to find out. I mean, you are the Ted Huggins from Planet Busters. Just a minute, we have to do this. Ted Huggins from Planet Busters. There we go.
There we go. Yeah. Always you and your effects. Yeah. I was always trying
Thank
to
you.
make it a bit more dramatic. Always helpful. So yes, yeah. So I'm Ted Huggins. I'm for those of you that don't know me, I'm sure there's a lot of people here that do know me, but for the sake of relativism, I am an audio engineer. Have done, and it is coming up to my 10th year as an audio since starting my journey as an audio engineer, and then I became a voiceover artist as well some years after that. So that's a bit less than 10 years, but it's about maybe six years now being a voiceover. So I'm a voiceover as well. But the main thing here that I'm here for is to tell you about demos, because for about 3 years now I've been running I'm a co-owner for a company called a sorry, I can't speak. I'll get there. A demo production company that specializes predominantly, at the moment, predominantly in making gaming reels for voice actors. And I do that with my business partner, Mars Lipowski. I'm pointing over here like he's over there, but he's not. He's not here. He is all the way in Swindon. I don't know why I'm doing that. So,
Well, look,
yeah,
we'll look
so
down
that's what we
then.
do.
That's
That's what we, yeah, so that's what we do. That's what I do. You know, we make bespoke gaming demos for voice actors. And when I say bespoke, I mean we literally just, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what we do, just a general basis about what we do. We meet the clients, we have a chat with them, we write complete custom written scripts for the voice actors in question, because we view them basically as a canvas, right? We'll go into that a bit, probably in a bit more relative as we go into making the actual demo later in a few minutes. But yeah, we make the scripts from scratch, me and Mars, and then of course we record them remotely, and then as of right now, I am the sole producer, where I would then take the recordings and then put them all together and like edit them, choose the best takes, produce the voice itself, as well as adding the sound effects and the music as well, and then the production that goes into the mixing stage of that, followed by the mastering as well. We will not go into like I said before, we're not going to go into an absolute full deconstruction about what I do, because we just don't have enough time for that. Yeah, but the majority that we're going to go with is like the mixing stage, which is about 80% of the work that I put into gaming demos every single time, and is the, in my opinion, the most important, well, one of the most important elements when making a gaming demo, or any demo in general, you know.
fantastic.
So, yeah.
That's great. And I'm really looking forward to diving into this with you, because there's so many people that want to make their own demo. And, you know, we can say there's pros and cons for that. Like continuity or commercials, you can probably get away with doing your own, because you're going to be sending off raw audio to someone else anyway. For those kind of things, you know, you've got a director, you're going to be sending off raw audio. So making your own commercial demos is probably okay in that different, because they can hear what your raw setup sounds like. So that would be a bonus. But when it comes to gaming and animation, these are very bespoke. They're very niche. And obviously we know that the casting directors and everybody wants to hear something. They want to hear range. They want to hear all these things. So let's package this before we dive into this. Let me ask you a couple of questions. And what is the biggest difference between animation and a gaming reel? Now, obviously in the States they kind of mash these two together, but over here we're doing separate ones. And so in a nutshell, let's see what's the biggest differences between animation and gaming reels.
The biggest, simplest answer to that is that gaming reels, at least the way the attitude is now, and in general games as a whole, when it comes to performance, they are generally more grounded and believable, even though they are, a majority of them, fictional. You know, highly fictitious things, like, you know, games like Red Dead Redemption 2 or the Halo.
Wait, that's fiction? Red Dead's fiction? What?
Well,
you mean you don't see deer when you die? What? What?
Yeah. Like I said, complete fiction, quite fiction. And then I was going to say other popular games like The Last of Us as well, which is a really popular one. They are set in highly fictitious environments and stories.
Sure.
The characters don't exist in real life. However, for those of us that are gamers, we play them, and we like playing them because we believe that these people are real. Right?
Sure.
And that's why gaming to this day, it is growing higher and higher in popularity, and actually it's making more money. Like, it's now in the multi-billion-dollar per year mark, and I think probably even like in the hundreds of billions, I think, something like that. I have to admit I don't know the exact numbers, but the main thing, gaming is huge, and the way gamings are in terms of performance is that they're more grounded, and
Okay.
they're more serious.
Right.
Animation, on the
Animation.
other hand, not to say that there isn't animation for adults, there is,
Sure.
but
Sure.
the general attitude and um, um, vibes that come off of that we appreciate from animation is that they are generally a bit more higher than life. They're a bit more theatrical. They're a bit more over the top. They have more permission to do that, right? Look at Rick and Morty.
Sure.
Rick and
Sure.
Morty, very much for like adults, really, because it's made with like it's got more of a mature edge, but the characters are very zany and wild, which is part of its appeal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the base. Without going into too much detail, which I think I already have, typical me.
No, I think that's great. No, but that's what people need to understand about the differences about that. So, because I hear a lot of people saying this is my gaming reel, and it sounds very too much like an animation reel because it is over the top. They've got weird voices and things like that going on that maybe would happen in a fantasy game, like you were saying. It is a fictitious world after all, but they're over the top, like you say, for that's more geared to animation. So I think that's a really good point to bring out with those things. So thank you for clarifying that explanation. And it's almost like if you're doing audio drama, that's the same kind of thing that you would be looking for in gaming, that kind of same level of realism and emotion and
yes. In my experience with trying to emulate audio drama, because I've made like audio drama podcasts in the past, in addition to demos as well. And audio drama, is kind of like the same thing, where it is more centered around believability and grounded characters.
Fantastic.
So there isn't so much room for the zany, wild, funny voices.
Yeah. Excellent. No, that's brilliant. So that's a wonderful thing. And so let me ask you this next question, and then we'll dive into it. Is should people make their own gaming and animation demos, and why not?
That is a big loaded question. Yes, that is the first. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that generally, this is my opinion of that. My answer to that. The answer to me is, unless you can do it, don't bother, basically. Especially for the likes of animation and gaming demos, because the amount of effort and work and detail that goes into gaming reels alone, compared to another demo like commercials, is way different. It's way more. You're expecting to put a lot more hours into that if you're wanting to make something at least like a gaming reel that is engaging for the ears, right? Because the whole point of demos is so that you catch the listener, whoever's listening, their ears prick up, and you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, right? So for me personally, there are other game demos around the world have their own way of doing stuff and their own visions, right, when they're making demos. For me, my vision is solely this. I'm trying to replicate scenarios to sound as if they have been plucked from existing projects, so they don't sound like they're a bunch of sounds and music and voice put together with a voice just talking like a talking head, right? I try to avoid that, because a lot of times people, when they're making their own demo, and I'm guilty of this myself when I started, right? Because of course I came from an audio engineering background. I did music and music mixing and mastering and studio recordings, right? That's where I came from. And so there are skills in that definitely lend itself to demo reels in general. However, there is also an expected change of mentality and attitude toward to both, right? You can't make a demo the same way you would make a song, right? And Bob you're a music producer,
Yeah.
and so I'm very I'm positive that there is like a difference with producing a song versus mixing and mastering a song.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
for quick reference, as a music producer, I'm the one that's listening for the sounds, what kind of snare drum to put, changes strings on the guitar. It's my ears that come into that. You know, so I'm the producer, and then I have an engineer sitting with me, and we'll listen back to it and say, no, I don't like that. It wasn't enough emotion. So I'm kind of steering the thing, and he's in the engine room, you know, doing the levels, and then it's up to him to mix and master and do everything to the standard. And then we obviously work together to make sure that we do that. So yes, there is a big difference in that, and I think that's where your expertise comes into things. Is there be people that can just say, well, I can just record this song at home, or I can record my demo at home. I could do that. I can do all the voices. I can do the accents. I can do this and that and that. But then they're not getting a quality thing that people are just going to, in a lot of ways, turn off as soon as it's turned on. You know, like back in the early days of video, when you watched a video on YouTube and it had that really bad hum in it from the lights or things like a bad sound, you just turned it off. And so, you know, it might sound great to that person. And I've heard a lot of songs the same way that it sounds great to that person. But then when you put it in front of professional ears, it's very clearly not very good. And so you skip it. And that's where you come in. And this is the thing that we want people to understand, is that that's why it's worth investing, because it's not just you're paying for a demo, you're investing in your demo. And we're not doing a sales pitch here. Ted is available to do these demos, and we're making no bones about that. You know, but it is investment. And so Ted's going to share, let's move on now, and he's going to share some tips and tricks. Now we have pre-recorded 2 clips for you to save the embarrassment of you guys having to listen to us fluffing up our lines. So
before we do that, Bob, I just want to finish off, because I feel like I didn't fully answer the question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Initially.
Carry on.
No, it's fine. But then you also brought up a good point about ears. Is that that's the big thing, is you're putting on different ears depending on what you're needing them for. I'm putting on ears when I'm putting on specific ears when I'm directing somebody, because as part of the job, I direct actors as well, along with Mars Lipowski as well. I'm not putting on the ears of a producer then. I'm putting on the ears of a director then. So I'm trying to get the right takes, right? And then once that's finished, then I put on production ears. And it's the exact same thing if you're doing it yourself. You have to be able to have the ability to switch between different ears if you're doing it yourself, because when you're recording by yourself, you're self-directing yourself, and then you've done that. Now it's time to put on your mixing and mixing ears specifically, and then do all the necessary things to do that, to bring out your voice, to remove any problematic frequencies that sound irritating or just shouldn't be there. It's all a game of balancing things, and try and trust, and being so good with your ears, and also knowing what you want as well, because that's the thing as well. You have to have a good idea about what you want the end result to sound like, and then once you know what to do, and with enough experience, you get better and better at doing that, right? And again, on the subject of producing your own demo, I would say, if you don't have the experience that I have, for instance, I would say avoid it, plain and simple. And I'm not saying that because I view myself as a high and mighty person, but I do have the skills to do it, more so than the average, than the average person on the street. And so that's not being egotistical. That's just me realizing a fact. And if you realize that fact about yourself, that you'd be better off going to somebody like myself or anybody else who can do that and saves you all of the trouble and the time and you're only investing you're only investing money wise in somebody else's skills who is guaranteed to do that better than you would.
Hmm.
And there are people that have done it and they've done really well, but that's not the norm. I'm not the
No,
norm doing
no,
my own demos. I can do that because
sure,
I can, right? Simple as that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing is
Yeah.
you have the technology, the training, and the experience to back it up. Because, and I think the other thing we're not talking about is you have the ears to know what is a good demo and what is a bad demo. And that's the thing that
Mm.
most people don't do is when they come to this, they're going to make a demo and it sounds good to them, but they have no idea where to place that in the realm of great demos versus
Mm.
bad demos. And
Mhm.
that's where you also have that experience to know this sounds amazing, that doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
but great. No, I'm so excited
Yeah.
to dive into these. And so Ted, you're going to be walking us through the plugins and the mix
Yeah.
and of these things. We're
That's
like
right.
we said,
Yeah.
we're not going to get into the mastering because that's going to be a
Mm.
whole nother subject. And but we are
Oh,
going
yeah.
to give a few tips and tricks for people that if they want to get started, want to give it an effort. But also these things can be used for your other demos as well. If you're doing continuity, if you're doing commercials, and any of these, or you know, audio drama or whatnot, you
You know,
can
in a
use these.
in a way, yes. I will clarify that like the process that I'm going to show you all just now is my specific process for specifically for getting for producing voices for gaming reels.
For games.
It
Okay,
would it
right.
would be it would the process would be different if I was doing it for a commercial or a uh, I don't know, an animation type, right?
Sure,
Because
sure. Understood.
I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. However, the big difference is that the main difference is that there are different methods required to try and get the right sound, because it would certainly you would produce a voice for a commercial different than you would for a game, because
Sure.
you don't have game characters that sound like they're on.
No, no, no. I was what I was
Yeah,
meaning is just in
yeah.
the uses of
Oh, yeah,
certain
yeah,
plugins like compression and whatnot. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
let's dive into it because we're half an hour
yeah.
in, 25
Yeah,
minutes
yeah,
in. So let's
yeah.
let's get into it.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll stop waffling. Okay. I suppose I have to share, don't I? I
You
have
can
to
share your
share.
screen. Yeah, you
Yes,
should
I
be able
can.
to.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen there.
Fantastic.
There you go, and you can all see
Ooh,
that, can't you?
yes, I can.
Wait. Let me just make sure that I'm sharing my. Let's share it with stereo. Okay. Alrighty then. So these are the two clips here that I've got that Bob mentioned before. One of them is Bob, the other one is myself, and these are different characters, right? For completely different tones, right? I just want to make sure that you can hear this. Can either of you hear that?
No,
No.
I can't hear that at all.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's weird. Why is it not working?
Did you share sound when you shared screen?
Yes, I did. Yeah, look at this, like share computer sound and then stereo right there. It's ticked up. Why is it not doing that? It's done that before. Still nothing?
Nope.
Oh, first flub of the night. Really? Oh
Oh
boy.
dear.
What is this?
Dear.
Dear,
You're
what is
trying
it?
unsharing and then resharing again. It's all these problems with Zoom. But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
try again. Make sure you click share sound or
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Share settings. Like, see if there's anything that is choosing the share screen order around. Content. Sorry. Share video sharing. 014. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try sharing again, and then it's a layout there, and then go to share computer sound, and then that is, maybe I'll share it to mono. So that's definitely clicked. No. What about now?
No, I can't hear a thing.
You are share. It says you are It says you are sharing sound from your computer.
Well, you can tell it's not sharing sound for your computer. Interesting. Oscar says that the fact that headset volume is really low, so the computer thinks it's sharing a low volume. Don't know.
I don't think so.
We should be able to hear something, but I can't hear anything there.
Yeah.
I'll play our theme song again.
Right, I apologize for this, folks. This doesn't usually happen.
Usually it's fine with those things.
Yeah,
for some reason.
This happens to me on a regular basis. Like, welcome to my world.
Get rid of that, and then. So I am just checking my settings because it shouldn't be doing that, and making sure that my settings are what they should be, because you can all hear me when I talk. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, you can all hear me, and sound is right. So system sound, that is fine as well. Yeah, that is the same. That's what it should be. That's what it should be. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna reopen it because I can. And then
strange.
La.
I know we can do sound because I did that theme song came straight out of Adobe Audition, so it's not a Zoom problem we can figure with. Hopefully we'll get this done, but I mean it's been good information so far with all these things, but we are here to hear us make a demo.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I'm sorry about this because I've definitely shared audio for different things before. I wonder. Right. So it's multiple.
Has Adobe sent it to the wrong bus?
No, it shouldn't be that. All right, so it's definitely. So that's different. So the share sound is definitely there. Maybe if I optimize it for video sharing, maybe it will improve. I don't know.
Right.
Minimize, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's there. Okay, so I'm playing it now.
I hear something. I think it's just really low.
It might be that you're hearing it from my headphones because these are open back headphones.
That's probably what. That sounds a lot more like it.
Yeah, but like I've said though, it should be sharing the sound. You know, should be sharing the sound, and
that's because it's really low. That's why I'm suggesting maybe because you would have turned your volume down on a computer for the headset, maybe change your volume output and just for a moment put up to max and just see if that allows us to hear it.
What does that orange thing represent? What is that on the left there?
That's just the tab, colored tabs of Adobe.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if maybe he doesn't have a tab.
No, it does.
Selected.
It's just his green.
Okay.
That doesn't make any difference at all.
Yeah.
That's just the colors of the tab. No, I'm not sure because I can hear it, but like you said, it's obviously coming out your headphones. Can you hear it, Ted?
Yes, I can definitely.
You can hear it. So
it's coming out completely clear for me.
It's coming out clear, but it's not coming into Zoom. So it's for whatever reason, it's not sharing. It seems that it's just not sharing the sound.
Yeah,
Are you on original sound for musicians or?
No, I'm on default for, but that's for my my microphone.
Right.
Yeah,
And Adobe hasn't changed its audio settings to send it out just to your headphones only and not to the computer.
No. I mean,
Because mine does. Mine likes to do that a lot.
no, it wouldn't do that. Because I
It
do
says
have
no. It says
monitors.
going.
I do have monitors here, so there is so I can change.
It's a nice program. It'd never do that.
Yeah. I'm just. Oh boy. Screen sharing meetings. Oh, well, if I change that there and then change that. No, change it to that. Screen sharing meeting controls. Try that.
I mean, you are a co-host, so there shouldn't be any issue with you sharing at all.
Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yep.
Everybody can still. Okay, cool. Because I've just made a change with my settings, and I'll make sure.
Okay. I do apologize to this, everyone.
Yeah, I'm
But,
really sorry, everybody. I'm just seeing what the heck is going on. There shouldn't be anything different that I need to do with Adobe Audition's internal settings itself, because I have done this before sharing through Zoom with this same thing. I'm gonna try this. See what I did. See if I did anything. Okay. What about now?
Nope.
Still quiet.
There's no sound at all.
Right. Okay.
Do you want to try your one? Just for the sake of argument, try your one, mute mine, and then try your one.
Yeah. Mute your. Sorry.
I say mute my track there, and then try your one.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
No, you can't do. No.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, play it again.
Yeah.
Because I don't see it's not moving in the. No, it is moving in the levels bar, but.
Yeah. You should see the levels.
Yeah.
Moving there.
Yeah, I can see the levels moving on it. That is in tell you what, let me do one thing. Let me try if I share my screen and see if folks can hear mine, and then we'll know if it's a Zoom problem or not. We can eliminate that.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh. All right, share sound.
Do y'all both use Audition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, so there we go. That's evidently then there's Zoom problem that is not allowing us to share sound.
Wow.
Because
no.
That
Y'all both have the paid version?
yes. Of Zoom,
yeah.
yes, I have that. Let me see. I can bus it out to that should work. Strange things are happening.
Yeah, very strange.
Okay, so that is obviously Zoom is not allowing us to share sound from Adobe for whatever reason.
Weird.
it is default output. No, that's going into there. No, that should be all right. Oh. Right, I'll try something else just for the sake. Good idea. What we're saying. You try sharing down from a different. Yeah, I'll try sharing something from a different program, and see if that makes a difference. Play it against Sam. Yeah.
Audition's being a jerk again.
I do apologize. So I was really. Now we've lost our momentum here.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
but
I do apologize as well, everybody.
Stuff happens.
It's obviously not your fault here. So share sound.
Yeah, Zoom is being a certain word that I will not say.
It is. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah.
Okay. So then it is obviously a problem with Audition. Audition is the problem. So it must be something to do with the routing of Audition, where it's not going to let us
do our thing.
Yeah. Let me try this now. Okay. Right, I've changed that. External hardware, Realtek audio. Okay, right. I'll try this again. Now I've changed my routing on Audition, and we'll see if that makes a difference.
Like in your hardware settings. Yeah.
You guys hear that? No, because I can't hear it either.
No. Can see the audio levels jumping as they do.
Yeah. Okay. No.
Reschedule for next week while you sort out the tech.
I hate to do that.
Yeah, I hate to do that as well, because we had to reschedule this before.
We did.
Yeah, which was my fault. But it couldn't be avoided, unfortunately. So yeah, it's looking more like that, Nigel.
I mean, the only thing I could do with it's obviously it's a mapping. It is obviously like I said, it's an audio Adobe Audition problem.
Yeah,
that it's not wanting to let us go through there. Ooh, one final thought. Yes, I have a thought. We'll change the computer settings.
I thought I did that. Like
open volume mixer.
I went to my settings and make sure that
output device.
I went to my settings and changed mine as well because there was a tab in my settings for Zoom sharing. Wasn't doing anything.
Right. I'm going to try this. I'm going to see if this works because I've changed my output device on the computer settings. So I'm going to try one more time. If this doesn't work, I have no idea what to do. Right, here we go. Share sound. Are we ready? Are we ready? The chances of this working are like the chances Scotland still has to qualify for the second round. Are we hearing any of that? No.
No.
Grrr.
Yeah.
I am totally where we are at. Fiddle with Zoom's background noise. Yeah, it's yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do is I'm going to apologize to everyone. We're going to call it, but yeah, as Greg says, it can be folks to help us sort it out. So apologies to folks on YouTube that have been watching, and we have not yet made a demo, but we will make a demo. We
Yes,
will
we
be
will.
back. We will be back, and so I'm going to end it on YouTube just now. I'll tell you what. Let's do. Let's open it up for Q&A. Ted, just we obviously can't do this. We're gonna have to figure this out. Don't know
Yeah,
why we
yeah.
can't share from Adobe Audition. It doesn't make any sense because we've both been able to do it in the past.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna open it up for anybody that's got questions for Ted, and not about the Zoom. We'll try another
Please
figure out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Oscar's looking for us to put our burp, burp, or has just put his hand up. So go ahead.
I don't know if he's asking a question or doing the YMCA.
I don't know.
I
Go
was
ahead.
trying to, I was trying to see if I could get Zoom to do that thing where it puts my hand up for me. It always works for Pamela, but it never works for me. So
Go like
I
that.
was I was
Bleep that on Zoom. Bleep that on. All right, let me just well, you know, we'll just keep the cool, you know, if everybody's comfortable with it going out on
Fix it in
YouTube,
post.
we'll keep it on YouTube so people can still get the
absolutely
questions.
fine.
Don't have questions.
We're also past the 5-minute mark, so swearing's allowed. I was going to ask when doing when doing gaming animation reels, how many different characters do you tend to do? Because I find for my gaming reel, because I'm one of the madmen who has tried doing my gaming reel on my own. I got some free access to a studio and I wrote out my lines, just put together various characters, did them together. In a gaming reel, as we say, it's more grounded nowadays, but we're also trying to fit in some character dialogue. So, for example, I lead off with a military general's speech, followed by an orc, followed by a goblin. Then it goes into a bit of an emotional speech because I was told that as a male, it's actually very good to show that you have a bit of emotional range, so that people just don't think you can come in and only do fighting. And then towards the end, I have more single one-liners that you might appear, like, "Oh, come into this shop and buy some gold," or something like that. And then some single battle lines followed by the vocals. So the slashing my sword and death towards the end. But obviously fitting that in 3 minutes or less, quite difficult. So
Yeah. There are a few things that you've mentioned, Oscar, that I want to address, actually. So the first one is to address the first question, the main question you had, which is how many characters. Now, when I did my first gaming demo, I did about 8, right? 8 different characters. And a lot of people do that. Sometimes they do like 10, right? The most I've seen. And now right now, with all the experience I've learned about gaming demos and the art of making gaming demos, as it were, is I think, in my opinion, 10 characters or even 8 is too much, I think, to fit into a demo where you're trying to make it like 2 minutes long. For an interesting bit of information, what I've learned is that with every demo that's out there, the general maximum amount of time is 1 minute 30, 90 seconds. It's like that with commercials and e-learning and like medical narration type stuff. All of that is all pretty much the same. 1 minute 30 seconds. However, gaming is kind of the exception, where you can allow for up to a minute longer, so 2 minutes 30. I think, because you mentioned 3 minutes, I don't know if yours is 3 minutes, but 3 minutes, I think, okay, well, I would say straight up, like 3 minutes, that's too long. That is too long. And because even fitting in 8 characters in a 2 minute 30 reel, to me, is trying to cram in too much in such a short space of time. And I'll tell you why, in my opinion, based on what I've learned, is that when you're trying to cram in too many characters, too many voices into such a short amount of time, what you'll end up with in general is you'll end up with a clip where it's just you doing different voices, but they're not different characters. As in, we, the listeners, don't have enough time to absorb the performances that you are trying to give, right? So for me, I'll tell you what I do with Planet Busters, and it's the same with every single person. 6 characters, no more, no less, right? And on average, 2 minutes 10, 2 minutes 20, right? Every time, right? We chose 6 because we found that 6 is a nice balance between what's too little and what's too much, because we think that it gives enough time with each character to perform. That's the big word, perform, with gaming, right? With gaming, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, but in case you haven't, gaming is all about the acting, right? So if you, and like I said, I've done this myself, Oscar, so I'm not trying to single you out or anything by saying what I'm going to say, but I did 8 and probably 9 characters, and I tried to cram it all in a 1 minute 30 or even 1 minute 40 demo. And at the end, I was quite proud of it. But now it's not what I would do ever again, because of that thing where I just, and I did the kind of the same thing where I wrote my own stuff and tried to think of different things to say, right? But I didn't, and script writing is a thing that that is a session of its on its own as well. So I won't go into detail about writing your own scripts. But the main thing I want to say is, yeah, when you're thinking about doing all these different characters, which is great, and you're trying to show off range, which is good, right? But the typical thing that happens when people do that is um, is you're trying to cram in too much in such a short space of time. The end result is you, yes, but we're not hearing the characters. We're hearing you doing these voices. And in gaming, we want to make the performances heard. We want the general reaction for other people who listen to your demo to say, "Is that you?" That's the best reaction in my opinion. That to have, like, with I work with a client, and then they show it to their husband, their wife, their mother, their father, their children, and then whatever, and then and then the typical response is either, "Wow, that's amazing," or, "Wait, is that you? Like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, what is that?" And it's nothing to do with me. Like, yes, I've produced it, right? But I've not done any wild I've not put any wild filter on the voice to make the sound completely different to what they sound like in real life. No, that is them embodying the character, and you're hearing the performance. So that's that one. What else did you say, Oscar? Actually, you were saying about you could, oh wait, yeah, you mentioned about sorry, I was going to say that you mentioned about the kind of characters you've added in. So you said you added in an orc, a
general
goblin.
orc, goblin, then went on to someone inviting you into their shop, then went into the emotional, like, slight monologue, but duologue with a back and forth between 2 different characters that I voiced both of. So villain versus hero duologue that was a bit emotional.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to address that as well. Particularly orc and goblin, right? So those are like non-human characters. They would be classed as monsters, people would say, right? Now, I want to address something as well, in case anybody's thinking that, is that there is such thing as a monster and creature demo, right? So I would say
I could
from
shift
it,
those to a monster and creature reel.
yes, I would say on that note, I would personally say save your gaming reels for human and maybe non-human type characters, but still ultimately humanoid in general, right? They can still produce some resemblance of human-like stuff. I mean, look at it's Skyrim, where you have like lizard, you have like lizard humanoids called Argonians, and then you have like cat-like people called Kashyyyks. Now they are like not obviously not human, but they are humanoid, right? And they can still speak, right? And they can still show emotion. And so that is as far, if at all, that is as far as I would go when I'm making a character for a script for a client who where the character is obviously not human, because they're able to do something with their voice if they can, like to add a bit of difference and texture to their voice, but there's nothing else required on my side to do. Like I don't need to put a shit ton, sorry, of, excuse my French, a shit ton of effects to make you sound completely different to what you really were, because that defeats the purpose, right?
So with following on from that, the case of these two characters that I specifically did in, they were done solely on my voice. I just
Oh yeah.
manipulated my voice to the point. So would you classify those as the monster reel, or would you classify them as the gaming reel if I wasn't doing really manipulation on the production side, merely manipulation on the vocal side?
I would say because of what they are, because they fit into more the monster realm. I think it's like it it's tricky. It's almost tricky. For me personally, I would, if it's monsters like, so let me ask ask a question to clarify. Both those creatures, they speak, right? They have speaking roles. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. So in my opinion, even though they have speaking roles and there is manipulation on your side, just on the voice side, and there's nothing post production, I would still say that it's like a gamble, to put them there, because it's different, because they are kind of monsters, but they're also speaking. What I was saying is that like creature and monster sound effects that you do predominantly on your voice, that most definitely save that for for a um a, a monster reel, a completely different reel, right? But then there's the other subject I want to mention as well, is that are you adding those because you can do them, or are you adding them because they because you're trying to showcase your acting in that, right? That's the thing. And I think it comes down to that. Can you can you act as, like, you can, like, you could
Personally,
change
I'd
it.
say yes. But personally, I'd say in this case, it was that as it was the lead off of my reel, they were characters that I would like to have gotten work out of them in the future doing those sort of characters.
Hmm.
But following on from your point, it would seem that the argument here would then be, well, why not just move those over to your monster reel and send those off when you're trying to get work on that and save that space for other more human acting in my gaming reel, because
Yes.
I can still put them in my monster reel. They could still be the lead off in my monster reel with the orc and the goblin and sound effects of bombs going off in the background, starting the
Could
monster
do.
reel, leading into some dragons and some wolves and things like that as well in that
Yeah.
reel. So
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
not do both?
Yeah.
But
If I
yeah,
can
I think.
interject just a minute,
Yeah.
there's no limit to the amount of reels you can have. There
No.
isn't. You can have a page full of reels, and just put them into sections, and you can send out the ones you want. Like Ted's, like, and make them fit together. And I think the point we bring up as well here is make sure that anything we put in a reel, especially gaming, we can do for 3 hours.
Yeah. Exactly.
We've got to, if you're going to put monster voices in, you've got to be able to do them for 3 hours. That's the key. Anything, same with when I talk about dialects and accents. lots of people can do different accents, but as we were talking the other night, unless you can do that angry and sad and do that and sustain it for hours, don't put it on your reel.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know, but what Ted's talking about is great, and I think, you know, like you say, move it over to those. You know, I have a villains reel, I have a heroes reel, I have a monster reel. You know, it's you know, there was a question that Nigel has just. So go
I
ahead.
was just going to say the one final part of that was then the vocals. So the back and
manipulation
forth
on your side.
Yeah, well, no, the like the deaths and the fight effects and the scream, you know, those sort of things.
Yeah.
Efforts.
So F.
That's
so
it. Yes.
Are you asking? So are you on
Efforts.
that point? Are you asking like, should you add those? And
yes,
like,
that was my that was the final part. That was the final section of my reel that I was inquiring about were the efforts.
Yeah. I just before I answer that, I just want to say so that, like, you know, we're on the same page. I think that if you want to write, if Oscar, you want to write a orc type character that has something to say and showcases an element of your acting as well as your manipulation, then go for it. I would absolutely do that. Make him interesting, you know. Don't just go with the traditional like firing it, you know, it's like, gotta kill all the humies and all that jazz, you know, where you're just saying a bunch of battle lines. You know, make him more interesting, I would say. But that's I can't go into detail about like script writing and everything, but I would say that if you want to write an orc type character, do that, you know, but make it, write him so that he's got something to say, so that there is a purpose for him to be there. The goblin one, I would specifically the goblin one, I would just remove that from the game entirely, because again, going back to gaming reels in general, I think that adding one non-human character, I think, is fine. Just the same as adding one one character that is speaking in an accent that is not your own. That's fine as well. But no more, any more than that, then you're starting to like dwindle the pool, so to speak. You're starting to limit yourself with showing off your voice as it is, acting as all these other different characters. So you're losing space if you're going with 6, which I think is generally a good norm, right? So if you want to make a non-human character like an orc or a Khajiit or a lizard man and add vocal manipulation to it predominantly, that you can do it for 2 to 3 hours in a recording session, do it. Just make sure that there is a character that you can act and perform as, so that you're not just saying stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to hearing how you sound as these characters, and are we entranced by your performance as this character, and do we make that that instinctual connection with you where we say, yeah, I believe this guy, right? So that's what it comes down to. Now, what was the next thing? Nigel had a question.
Yeah, Nigel's got a question. So Nigel says there. Nigel, if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask your question there, or it was just a comment.
Please do, because there's a lot.
It was just a comment, because we were talking about 10 voices at the time, so it was just a line that stuck in my head that said the human brain cannot see numbers greater than 5, so 5 seemed like a good number. So, but you've said 6, but that's as close to 5 as you can get without being 5.5.
Yeah. Yeah. I think ultimately, I think 6 is good, because I like 6 because it's an even number, you know. I think, and it's better than it is better than 5, because it allows you for one more to do, right? Any more than 6, I think, is when at least it starts to get too crowded, because again, what I said before. We want to hear the performances as you. We don't want to hear the different, and casting directors who know what they're doing will say near enough the same thing. They want to hear your performances. They don't want to hear you doing different voices. Save that for the animation reels, which is a different kettle of fish. But yeah, 6 is good, I think. And if you want to do 5, if you really want to do 5, then who am I to tell you? I'm not your boss. I just like 6 because that's the formula that's worked for the entire time, and I don't see it changing.
Are we gonna say it? No, we're not. But Pamela said no, we're not going to do it. So no, absolutely not.
That's
so we're going to stick at
definitely
6.
An in joke that I'm missing all of a sudden. Yeah.
The first day on the internet. So
Yeah.
But no, you're right, because 6, whether it's 2 minutes or whether it's a minute and a half or even a minute, it divides into 6 very, very nicely. Here's a question for you. 6 is the number of the beast. There we go. So make sure you do 4 demo reels and not have 3. Very much sure. Here's a question. Would you make sure that all your samples are the same length, or would you perhaps vary it? Is there a rule to say that if you're doing 6 characters, they all have to be 20 seconds each to make the 2-minute reel?
That's a good question. Yeah. And honestly, I was going to say about timing, because a few people were mentioning like the length of the dialogue is itself. Another thing why we chose 6 is because we imagined that we would write our scripts an average of 20 seconds each, because we believe 20 seconds is a good time and enough time for the listener to absorb what is happening, and also what the character is saying, and also absorb the performance. We think that's a good time. So to answer that question, Bob, it isn't always 20 seconds. Sometimes it's 22 seconds.
Sure.
Sometimes it's 19 seconds, right? But really, if it's 19 seconds, then that's uncommon for us, particularly, right?
That's as close as you can get to 20 without being 20.
Yeah, exactly. For us,
that's now how we're going to describe any number.
Yeah.
But that's great.
It's entirely, and it depends on several different factors. It depends on the kind of character that we're making, what they're doing. Are they just talking? Are they speaking slowly? Are they speaking quickly? Are they what is the character? What justifies them? Does it justify? Like,
Absolutely.
for instance, if it's a more soldier type character who's giving orders in the middle of a gunfight, then obviously the dialogue is going to be, whatever the dialogue is, it's going to be most likely in rapid succession, because that's typical when you're in, like, if we're talking about, like, constructing the world itself and the situation itself, then obviously you're in a firefight. You're thinking really quick. I mean, I'm not a soldier, obviously, but I'm going by what makes sense to me and to Mars as well when we're writing this stuff, right? So yeah, in that scenario, it is obviously going to be really quick because they're trying to survive. They're trying to
Absolutely.
they're trying to shout as well. That's another thing as well. They're shouting because they want to be heard, right? But they want to get the orders done quickly and everything. And so in that scenario, maybe it would be 19 or even 18 seconds.
Sure.
And that's okay for us. We accept that because that's what we wrote. And if it takes that amount of time, it's great. It saves time. It saves time for any other characters. That
Absolutely, which you can go a little bit over on.
Yeah, which will probably be 23
so
seconds.
I want to revisit the soldier demo there, but Kate's had her hand up for a little while, so I want to go over to
Kate.
What's your question? Yeah, I think you answered my question when you were talking about writing the scripts for 20 seconds. I was going to ask if we did a script and sent it to you, would you pick out the part that works and go with that. But you did answer my question. You actually write the scripts for that block of time.
Yeah, we aim to. Yes, it is very common for us to go over time, as me and Mars, because the way we write, because getting something to 20 seconds or close to that is actually a challenge, you know. And briefly, I'll just say that when I'm writing, I'm writing for a purpose. I'm writing to showcase. I'm writing to say something that I believe this character would say, because I've created a world in my head, and I'm trying to put it onto paper and make it all make sense, right? And so I do that, and then I cut things that I can do without, right? And then, of course, and then the way I do what I do, and if either of you don't do this yet, if you're writing your own stuff and you want to get a good gauge about how long the script is, once you're done with the script, just put a timer on, and perform it the way you intend for it to perform, and that means leaving in those pauses if they're relevant, those moments of the character doing something physically, like if they're taking time to unsheath a sword and swing it, or stab, or pull out a gun, or fire a gun, or in another case, like close the hood of a car. It takes time. It does take up time. So yeah, you have to time it, and that comes with to quote again, it comes with time of doing that over and over and over again, right? You don't have to. I don't especially aim to be exactly 20 seconds, because it's not worth it, right? But close enough to 20, so long as I want to say what I want the character to say, right? So that everything that the character needs to say has been said. If it's 22 seconds, that's great. I'm done,
Exactly. So it doesn't, you don't have to divide the time up specifically. We can do that. So that's
you don't have to be super computer.
You've got that. So that's great. That's well answered there. Yeah. So so yeah, has anybody else got a question? Because I was wanting to touch back on some recording techniques, just for a moment, if you will. When we were talking about soldiers, and you were talking about shouting orders, things like that.
Yeah.
What would you, for people that are watching, and sometimes people have had this question in the past, how would you personally record the shouts? Would you ride the gain, or would you stand away from the mic to create a little bit more ambience? How would you have them shout orders in the booth?
I've done both with clients. I've told them to decrease the gain and told them to step away from the mic. Honestly, I would not get them to move away from the mic now. I do that less now, because of the simple fact that the position that it's in, according to where they are, is fine, and I want to keep that the same throughout the whole demo, no matter what the situation is. Because in the past, I've told them to move away from the mic when they're shouting, and I've captured more of the room that they're in, and in their booth, right? And there's a lot of, and it's not to say that their booths are bad. I make sure that their booths are to a standard that is acceptable. But even in pro booths, sometimes the position, depending on where you're recording and how far away you are from the mic, you will still get some elements of the room that you're in. And absolutely. In booths, it is the same, because you're quiet, there's no echo, but there is like that bit of boxiness space that comes into the mic when you do that. So that's why I now don't do that as often. So it is just purely directing the people to adjust their gain appropriately.
Great.
Because,
Great.
and the other thing as well is that sometimes people are cautious about that. You know, they're afraid to
Clip.
they're afraid to clip, and they're afraid to be too quiet, right? So sometimes I've had experiences where clients will actively decrease the gain but also change the volume of their voice as well when it's needed to be there, and I've told them, no, you don't need to do that. You're fine. There's nothing to be afraid of. Because I can understand that. I mention it because it's happened more times than you would think, where people just then, especially when they're not used to being loud, right?
Yep.
They can be,
Or if they're
loud.
hearing themselves.
Yes, if they're hearing. Oh, and that's another thing as well. That because you bring that up, we tell people to either remove their headphones from their head, or just take one ear off, like what we've both done right here.
Exactly.
Because you're listening. Because on that note, because some people get too distracted from hearing their own voice when they're listening to us from the other side of the screen, but they're also listening to themselves when they speak as well. Yeah. So because you're here, it's unusual to us to hear our own voices as it is, which is it's a scientific fact, and it's true for everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, it took me a long time to get over that, especially doing radio. To listen to myself, and now it's second nature. So I know what I sound like with earphones on and earphones off. Is it's tuned into that. So it's a valid point with those things, right? I'm conscious of our time because I don't want to go too long since we haven't actually got into the demo making process. So we're gonna have to figure things out. I was playing around with Adobe to try and see if I could get it to change the settings and things like that. So we're gonna have to figure out how to bust this into Zoom, and why other sound will share, but why Adobe is obviously just sharing to my mixer rather than to the computer itself. So we're gonna have to figure out something. And what we might do is Ted and I might actually record the process later on, because we do have other ways to share sound through connection that we could probably record later and then just share it with the rest of you. But before we kind of close up, has anybody else got any questions for Ted? And Ted, make sure, let's talk about your socials as well. planetbusterdemos.com, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, that's correct. planetbusterdemos.com. If any of you are interested, we're on Instagram, which is just Planet Buster Demos again. We also do have a LinkedIn page as well, and that's pretty much it in terms of socials. The main thing though is to reach us, if you're interested, is just sending us an email, and the best way is to just go onto our website and just find the email there. The email is, if I remember it correctly, it's contact@planetbusterdemos.com, I believe. That's pretty much it. But yeah, planetbusterdemos.com is the name of the website. Go and look that up, and you'll get to see. You'll find our email, but you'll also get to see all of the demos that we've made in the past up to most recently, and you'll see all the different types of voices that we've worked with, and how each and every single one doesn't have the same script as well.
And that's a good thing, because you're doing custom scripts for people, and you're not recycling these. So Kate had a question, but is there anybody else that has a question that hasn't had a chance to answer one? No.
Sure.
No.
I sort of had the point on efforts as well, but if we're running out of time, don't worry.
Well, let's get Kate's question, and we'll go back to efforts right quick.
This after I thought about it, I think it's a stupid question, but
no, go on.
When we send our reel in to you to edit and everything, you add the music then, right?
Yeah. Well, that can be an option, though
or the sound
typical-
effects or whatever.
yeah, the typical option is that we would record you remotely,
Mm.
and then I would take your audio from there, because what we use to record people remotely is a software called Clean Feed, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if some of you might have heard of that. It's basically it's basically a Chrome-based recording software. Basically, it's actually very good for what it is. It allows us to record people all the way in the States, and in a real case, New Zealand. We actually do have a client who is interested in working with us, who's all the way in New Zealand. So, but like sending in your files. I mean, you can do that if you wish, though. I would, if you're working with us, then we would say, if you've got your own scripts that you want to use, then that's okay as well.
No,
But
I would be good with the remote.
Yeah. Because that's how it is. Yeah, it's the simplest way as well. Because we are directing you, because that's what we do as well. We direct people remotely. So
which having done that with Ted the other day on this one, Ted is really good at directing, really getting the best out. And I think it's a good thing to have direction in your demos, especially for animation and gaming. Having done some direction myself, is you can really hear what people where they need to go, and it's like people know actors are great, but there's sometimes you just can draw, and a director can draw out the best in you. For commercials and everything like that, yeah, you do have directed sessions, obviously, and those are great. But for animation gaming, I really do recommend that you have a directed session, even if it's not necessarily with Ted. If you've got another voiceover person that can help direct you on those, that's also something really good too. It's good. So yeah, I don't think anybody's got any more questions, but Oscar was talking about efforts. We were talking about that, and so obviously many of the gaming reels that we've heard have efforts in them along with it, rather than just an effort reel by itself. Yeah. Although I have been asked for effort reels, just to which I've just done just randomly, just because the client asked for that specifically, because they wanted to hear how I screamed and how I'd picked up different things. And at One Voice conference, there was a lot of talk about light, medium, and heavy efforts, and going through all of these different ones as well. So is it necessary to put those in a reel, or is it just a case of you're doing your efforts along with your character to evidently make the character more believable and more real? Rather, as opposed to, and so the casting directors say, okay, they can do efforts and they can understand efforts, rather than going, hey, look, this is my light effort. Huh, this is my medium effort. This is my really heavy effort. So right. So
very good if you're playing a character who's constipated on the toilet.
Really, exactly. So that's what I mean. It's one of those kind of efforts. So because of the facial things as well.
Okay, yeah. So I'd say first off, like, I just want to say I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm like, do your own thing if you really want to, right? But if we're talking from my perspective professionally, to answer your question, Bob, that you said about efforts, an effort reel, I'd say that's going a bit too specific. I think
so.
With monster and creature sound effect demos, that makes sense, because that is a totally different thing.
Yes.
From performing as characters who are speaking, right?
Yeah.
And but like efforts, I think personally that putting those in a reel where the character is doing them for a reason makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I actually have a question that I ask every single one of my clients is that are they familiar with the efforts of all kinds, and because there's different kinds. There's combat
Exactly.
sounds. There's ones where
Exactly.
you're giving hits. There's ones where you're taking hits. There's ones
So,
where there's efforts when you're like, dying, or ones where like you're just wrenching something, pulling something,
or
pushing
get hit with a
something.
lightsaber.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Oh man, I'm jealous now. Immediately made me jealous. I want one of those because it makes a sound when you move, and I was like, oh, you make me envious now. Anyway, yeah, just put the efforts in with the character. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't recommend that you do that and make a reel solely on efforts, because it does sound. I think it's just so niche that there's no point.
Can I
Hmm.
I would just
Yeah.
wanted to very quick, like sort of half follow up on that.
Oh yeah.
So would you suggest then that if some madman were making their own reel then, or in general, would you have one character perhaps you'd write that character in a way that would lead into an effort or two within that script naturally? So
Oh yeah.
perhaps your character was climbing up a hill and at the top of the hill he meets the boss and then he fights the boss and then he dies or he wins
Now,
or she.
yeah. So, yes, I would
But
I would write a script so that the character is doing an effort of something to showcase that. However, what you to use your example, climbs up a hill, meets the boss, fights the boss, then dies. That's too much time. I can already tell that is way too much time to allow. So you have to be, yeah. This is where you have to be careful about making sure you are certain with what you want to show in the performance, right? So certainly write a character where you're climbing something, and that can be it. That can be it. That's it. Or to make it more dramatic, make it so that it's like, in my experience, I've done this. I've written a character for somebody where they're taunting an opponent in like a bare knuckle ring kind of thing, right? And so he's delivering punches and receiving punches, but he's also like taunting them as well, and that's the scene. That's it, because you're able to deliver, you're able to get the actor to perform the efforts of throwing punches and taking a few as well, but they're also integrating that with the performance of what they're trying to be. And in this case, the character, I think, was a bare knuckle brawler from the underground of London, who was basically telling this guy, you're so weak, I'm gonna absolutely demolish you, right? While obviously that's not what he said, but I can't remember it off the top of my head because it was a while ago. But in my opinion, that was good enough so that everything flowed nicely, because you listened to it, you understood immediately, oh, this is a guy fighting somebody. And what's he saying? Oh, he's telling him how weak he is. And then you hear that with the sound effects as well, because the sound effects would then serve even greater as well, because when you pair in the actor's efforts with the sound effects that you add later, it's in the best cases ever, it's like that is spot on and it's perfect. Basically, you understand everything, what's happening, and all of that in just 20 seconds or 22 seconds, and that's it. But that's all you can do. You have to be wary about your time, about what you allow your character to do. You can still certainly have a character who dies in a completely separate scene, but it's a completely different character in a completely different scenario, because you want to allow those non-vocal moments of performance to have the time they need then.
As you said, we need to be wary of our time. That's exactly where we need to be there. So Ted, you brought the perfect segue into that. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. Ted, thanks so much for joining me tonight. It's been great. I'm sure it's been a lot of knowledge, certainly a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, a lot of good things that we do. It's just a shame we didn't get into the actual demo itself.
Yeah,
but you know,
I'm so sorry, everybody.
It's obviously it's a problem with Adobe Audition, because I had the same issue. So we're gonna figure out how to do that. And just when we're going to close, Kareem comes in with a question. So go ahead. You've got 4 minutes. 4 minutes till the past.
Very enlightening.
Go ahead, Kareem.
Sorry, it was just a clap to say thank you. It's been very enlightening. Thank you very much.
Oh, fantastic. So it was no question.
You're
Great.
welcome, Kareem. You're
Wonderful.
welcome.
So,
all right.
Fantastic. So yeah, that's great. Thank you, Ted, for coming along. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Ted and I will look at this and see what we can figure out. And probably what we'll do is, I think, is we're going to try and do this offline. We'll try and build it out offline, and then we'll share that with everyone so that we can go through the process.
Yeah, there might be something that we might be able to fix where it does work. I mean, that's what I would hope, but we'll see.
Hopefully, we'll try it.
There is something. There's
got to be. It's a routing issue. It's clearly a routing issue.
I'm sure given enough time, we'll figure something out, and then we'll be back with a lot more insight to be able to show you all.
What are you saying? I'll be back. Is that what you're saying?
I'll be back.
Excellent.
Arnold Schwarzenegger out.
All right. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording here, and there we go. Stop. And I will end the stream online. There we go. Right. So we're clear. But again, thanks everybody for coming in.